Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duck Bricks. I'm Chris, and this is a brand new LEGO Ninjago set. It's the Ninja Team Combo Vehicles coming out this summer. Now this set will retail for $90 US and features a vehicle that is somewhat inspired by other combination vehicles we've gotten in the past. Obviously the very first one being the Ultrasonic Raider from 2012, which kind of set the precedent of having a ninja vehicle split up into two parts. We got what is, in my opinion, the very best Ninja combo vehicle in 2016 shortly afterwards, the Ultra Stealth Raider, which splits up into 4 individual vehicles and just looks absolutely spectacular. And then we got a legacy version of the Ultra Sonic Raider up there, which honestly I'm a little mixed on, and I definitely feel like there are a lot of pros and cons to it. And finally, that has brought us to the Ninja Team Combo Vehicles. It's a similar concept where you have the half tracks at the front, a motorcycle style of build in the back. And I'm going to be completely honest, I don't know about this one. This is, to me, one of the weaker sets of the brand new wave for Ninjago Dragons Rising. Not only do the individual vehicles look a little funky to me, but also it's really expensive for what you get. And given that you get what is the best Ninjago mech in history for only $10 more, I honestly will have a hard time recommending this one. But, you know, don't just take my word for it. Let's go ahead and take a look at this set and see everything it has to offer as a full-on build. So let's go. So this is 71820. It's the Ninja Team Combo Vehicle, which comes with 576 pieces, and unfortunately will retail for $90 US when it releases on August 1st, 2024 in the US, and June 1st, 2024 pretty much everywhere else. The set includes 6 minifigures, Lloyd, Nia, Cole, and Sora in tournament outfits with armor, as well as 2 copies of the Wolf Mask Warriors, and clearly is meant to be a callback to the great combo vehicles that we've gotten in the past, from 2016's Ultra Stealth Raider to both versions of the Ultra Sonic Raider that we got, one for Ninjago Legacy and one all the way back in 2012. However, despite featuring the 4 original Ninja, this set does something a little bit different, instead choosing to highlight Lloyd as well as one of the newer side characters, Sora, who's now part of the Ninja team. Because of that, the composition of the set is really unlike any other combo vehicle we've gotten in the past, but I'm going to say it right now, this set is pretty ridiculously overpriced, and I'm going to be honest, I am not the biggest fan of the build either. So if you're looking for a super positive review, I'm going to be honest, this is not going to be it. Despite the fact that this set was sent to me for free by LEGO to review, I do want to be honest about my opinion on the set. And this set is not really that great. There are a lot of really wacky things about it that are not in a good way, that I don't really know why it does things the way it does. And while there are some good aspects of the set, don't worry, I will be giving a fair review of both positive and negative, I am of the opinion that the cons definitely, unfortunately, outweigh the pros of the set, and I just cannot recommend it, especially for the price of $90 US and 90 euros. However, let's just start off by taking a look at the set itself and where really all the minifigures go. You have Lloyd in the main vehicle in the center, and they've integrated dark green and standard green for Lloyd being used for that center vehicle. You also have 2 side motorcycles for Cole and Nia, basically just having some space for their weapons as well. There thankfully are clips for most of the characters' weapons, and they did actually put in a surprisingly high amount of effort to figure out where all the weapons go. There is the most bare bones semblance of a flyer or glider for Sora. It is really just using a few pieces and looks a little wacky. It's basically just a spoiler of the vehicle, but it is technically a 4th vehicle that separates out. And then of course finally you have those 2 side motorcycles, which you can attach each of the Ninja to clip in. Altogether, once you load up Nia and Cole into their respective bikes, this makes up the Ninja Team Combo Vehicle. Now, what is it about the set that is so strange to me? Well, for one, I definitely feel like the vehicle only looks alright when all the different parts are combined. I think that LEGO has done a much better job at making the silhouette of other combo vehicles feel more dynamic, feel more interesting than this particular build, and unfortunately for $90, it just tends to feel a lot smaller than I think it actually is. A lot of that is due to the way the treads are set up, the verticality of it, the way that the side bikes are mounted where the front wheels don't even touch the ground. I don't know, it just feels a little messy, especially compared to other attempts at combo vehicles in the past. I think that Sora sticking so far high up off of the vehicle itself also doesn't really do it any favors, but the real question is, for a set like this, how does the transformation feature work? Because I feel like the sets like this are really make or break depending on how good the splitting feature is. Well, to do that, first you have to bring over this random weapons holding block. And you might be wondering, what exactly is this random kind of awkward looking block that doesn't even stand up on the ground used for? And well, you're about to find out. The big unfortunate thing though is that this is required for one of the key transformations and there's literally nowhere on the vehicle to put it. You can kind of get away with sticking it on the back studs of Sora's flyer, but the instruction manuals never say to do this. It's also really flimsy when you do that. And altogether is just kind of a weird little piece that you really do need for a lot of the transformation, but there's literally nowhere to put it. It would have been very easy to attach some anti-studs or to maybe some clips on the underside to stick it on the underside of the vehicle or somewhere hidden away, but unfortunately, this is a pretty crucial part of the build that you kind of just have to keep separate until you actually have the transformation and splitting feature. But how exactly does this work? Well, first off, you have this individual Lloyd component for the tank treads. You stick on Sora's glider on the back, or remove it like so, which becomes the spoiler of the vehicle, and then you basically have these two bikes, which as you can see, are joined together into one vehicle by that joiner block, and then attach them up to the axle and Technic pins on the side of the vehicle itself, as well as the ratchet joints, which just make it attach on a little bit stronger. So because of that, you technically have 4 different vehicles, sometimes 3 if you do want to combine the 2 motorcycles, and I'm going to be honest, the best part of the set is probably this. These are 2 very simple motorcycles that combine together into one. It reminds me a lot of a LEGO Batman 2019, I believe, set that we got a few years ago that basically had the same exact concept but was only like $20 or $25, and despite the fact the builds are literally identical, save for the coloration of components for Cole and Nia, it actually works out pretty well. I kind of like this as a custom Ninjago style vehicle, and I feel like it does work even when you have the joining block in the center because you actually have the 2 characters' weapons attached to the bikes. Of course, the entire point is that they are standalone motorcycles as well, so even if you don't use the joining block, you can use these as individual bikes, and I think they're fine. They are pretty basic when it comes to Ninjago motorcycles. Because they're a part of a combo vehicle, they don't have that much personality to them, and they basically are just identical copies, one after the other. But unlike some other vehicles where we've gotten stuff like this, where either they had like a sidecar built in for the legacy version of the Ultrasonic Raider, or maybe they had treads on the front of them, which made it a lot more interesting, like the Ultra Stealth Raider, these are pretty much just the most bare bones motorcycles that you could ever expect to get for a build like this. Standalone, they're alright. I feel like they're fun to play with, they're very sturdy, they play very well, kids are probably going to love these, but they just don't do that much for me in terms of being interesting Ninjago vehicles. They're supposed to be uniform, so you can't have the characters' personalities or elemental flair being baked into the vehicles, but at the same time, they also are just supposed to represent the individual ninja themselves, and they're only really doing that by swapping out basically 4 different pieces. Everything else is fully identical when it comes to these 2 bikes. But moving on from that, we can probably take a look at what I think is the most lackluster vehicle of the set. It barely even counts as a vehicle, and that is Sora's flyer or glider. I don't really even know what to make of this one. Essentially what it is the spoiler of the main vehicle, which Sora just kind of sits on top of, and unfortunately they decided to actually have one of these attachment pieces be an axle attacher and one of them be a pin attacher to make it easier to remove. But because of that, to make it easier for building, they decided to color these in 2 different ways. So not only does the very front of the vehicle look very, very odd, with half of it being light gray and the other half being black, it just ends up feeling really, really blocky and just not something I would call a standalone vehicle. I've personally seen cooler polybags. But moving on to the main build, what exactly does it look like with all the stuff removed? And to be completely honest, this isn't actually that bad. I think that this as a standalone vehicle definitely had promise. Maybe if they stretched out the treads a little bit more, made them a little less tall, I can see what they were going for with this. I also really like the single large wheel on the back. I feel like it is very unique, and this is definitely the best vehicle in the set. Of course it is the largest, so that kind of makes sense, but I can definitely see what they were trying to do, Unfortunately, it does fall short in a lot of ways, and I think that a lot of that is due to the proportions and the shaping of the build. It ends up feeling very, very flimsy, especially near the front, with everything just attached with a Technic bar. On the back of the set, there are these exposed blue pins, axles, red bits of Technic sticking out. The spoiler has these black Technic axles out of the back, thankfully not red, they are in black, so they're a little bit more disguised. But overall, it definitely feels like this is just the base vehicle for a combo vehicle and wouldn't really stand on its own. One of my favorite things about other of the great Ninjago combo vehicles we've gotten in the past is with stuff like the Ultra Stealth Raider. Every single one of the vehicles felt like it could have been its own set. The glider, the front vehicle that turned into a motorcycle, each of the two side bikes, all of those felt like their own good vehicle. Unfortunately, the only fully finished vehicles here are kind of the side motorcycles, and they are easily some of the more boring vehicles included in the set. Add to the fact that you have this very awkward block and a weapons rack stuck off to the side of the set, and honestly, this one just isn't really doing it for me. I honestly feel a little bad for the designer of the set because I definitely know that folks will do their best and try to make the best possible set, and sometimes LEGO designers are just hit with a budget that doesn't really work out for a set like this. With around 576 pieces, literally under 600, I think $60 would have been arguably a bit much. Like, this should have been 55. 60, okay, I can see it, it's a little high, but I could see 60. But I definitely feel that for $90, just everything negative about the set is absolutely amplified. The few good qualities that there are and the few interesting ideas they managed to pack into the set are unfortunately just really overshadowed by the price tag of $90 being just way too much, way too high. I don't understand why this is $90. I don't really see the value here. None of the minifigures are even exclusive other than the Wolf Mask General, who really is basically just another one of the Wolf Mask characters with just a red Shatterspin armor. And I don't know, this one just is one of the weaker Ninjago sets in a long time, and I feel like maybe this one does feel like it is a lot worse because it is in a wave with some of the best Ninjago sets ever. Cole's Titan Dragon Mech, the Source Dragon of Motion, the Tournament Temple City, and even the Tournament Battle Arena are all absolutely phenomenal and solid sets, which makes this one really stand out even more as being obviously the worst one of the wave. Unfortunately, that's pretty much all I have to say about this build. I just can't really recommend it at full price. I would find it hard to recommend it on sale either because I don't think it is that good of a toy. I think that the Legacy Ultrasonic Raider, which a lot of people clowned on for not being very good, is leagues better than this one because at least some of the side vehicles feel like they are their own interesting and separate things. And that's just my thoughts on this set. Sorry to be a little negative on this video, but I have to be honest, even though this was provided for free, I do want to give an honest and fair review, and that's what I think. That's all for this review, but of course, feel free to disagree. I'm really curious. Let me know in the comments if there's things that you like about this set that maybe I'm missing, or maybe I should be seeing it a different way. I am very curious to hear everyone's opinions, and I hope you enjoyed this review of the Ninja Team combo vehicles. Alright, and with that, we have summed up my thoughts on the Ninja Team combo vehicle. Definitely a bit of a mixed bag for this one, and there are some good things about it. It's good to actually get Lloyd factored into the combo vehicle this time, and also cool to get Sora as part of the team as well. But I do feel like it is a bit of a hodgepodge for especially the price that you pay, and I don't really know about this one. But of course, that is just my opinion, so do let me know what you think down in the comments below. Will you be picking this one up, or do you agree that LEGO has done better combo vehicles for Ninjago in the past? That's all for this review, but definitely stay tuned because I'll be putting out individual reviews of all the new Dragons Rising sets over the next few days. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much, and be sure to like and subscribe for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon. Thanks, and bye for now.